You're listening to Charting the Future, a podcast for independent pediatricians by PCC. For more information about our software and services, please visit www.pcc.com or visit us on social media.
All right, welcome back, friends, to Charting the Future. I have a good friend with me today, Dr. Gigi Youngblood, who is from Birmingham, Alabama. I'll let her introduce herself in a moment. She'll tell us about her practice. I just wanted to say hello. I think I'm going to see some of you at Pediatric CEO or Women in Pediatrics, where I'm usually hiding behind a tree, in a couple weeks. And then the summer opens up. I get to visit a bunch of state chapters. I think I go to New Hampshire and Connecticut. Maybe that's throughout the year. I don't know. I get lost easily. Dr. Youngblood, how are you?
Good. How are you, Chip?
I'm good. Actually, as soon as you and I get done, as you know, as soon as you and I get done filming this, or whatever it's called, I'm going to be giving a presentation to the Jefferson County Pediatric, what's the last
Society,
word?
yeah, JCPS.
Society.
Yeah.
Okay. Where she's been kind enough to assemble a group of pediatricians for me.
You have been very kind to donate your expertise.
Well, I wouldn't consider it a donation because I can't write it off, but I appreciate it nonetheless. So my first question to you, before you tell us about your practice, is do you remember the first time we met? You remember when that was or where it was?
So I did not even know that this world existed until summer of 2023. And I went to the users conference in Denver. And so we did not meet there, but that's the first time I was introduced to you. And then the first time that we actually interacted was at Ped CEO on stage, where I was like, you had to narrate and I had to act, and then we had to switch. And so
I forgot about that.
it was.
We were a good team, actually. That worked out. I totally forgot about that.
You did well. Did you do theater growing up?
No.
Okay.
In retrospect, maybe I could have done improv.
You think?
I'm
agreeing. I'm like, yes.
No.
Yes, you missed your calling. You should start now.
But if I had to do improv, I couldn't do it. I can only do it if I'm not supposed to. So it's interesting. My memory was the same. I've asked this question of a number of people, and sometimes I just simply don't remember. I do, though, remember when you started showing up at the users conference and you were there at the front. You tend to sit up front. That's how I judge people.
I have to. If I do not sit up front, I don't take any medication. So if I do not sit up front, I won't get anything out of the conference.
Okay.
I'm not being a gunner. I'm just trying desperately to focus.
That's why I give the talk. So I don't get it. It's the only, I realized when I played baseball when I was a kid, I liked being pitcher, though I didn't pitch very much. I liked being catcher and shortstop or second base because you had to pay attention the whole time. Otherwise, who knows what game I was playing. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your practice, Tots N Teens in Birmingham. How did it start and how did you find yourself there?
So, gosh, it's been around for about 30 years. It's a couple of pediatricians would come together. It's been Tots N Teens for over 25 years. But I did not join until 2023. I had been in a hospital owned practice for 15 years, for the first 15 years of my career, straight out of residency. Loved my practice, had some disillusionment issues during COVID. Kind of always thought I knew we were giving up some autonomy to be owned by the hospital. But my thought was always like, if, stuff hits the fan, the hospital will take care of us. And then it did. And I did not feel that sense of safety that I had sacrificed autonomy for. And then I was already kind of pondering trying to do something on my own, and just saw a Facebook post with another practice that was a mile and a half from my hospital-owned practice, looking for a pediatrician. And one of the things that I was struggling most with was leaving my patient population. And so this beautiful opportunity presented itself. My former partners would probably beg to differ that it was a beautiful opportunity. But for me and my patients that I love, I'm old enough now that I'm getting to take care of
Your second
the
round.
kids of the
Yep.
teenagers that were, my patients when I started. And so it's been really nice to get to join independent, but still have that continuity. So that's where I am now. And I co-own it with another physician. We have two part-time employed physicians and we have two full-time employed NPs. And then we have a staff of about 16, 17. We're kind of in flux right now. But it's a sorry, that includes all the providers too, but it's a great practice. I love it.
That warms my heart. And actually, your concise articulation of the sacrifice of your autonomy for security is the story of the 21st century in pediatrics. And not everyone sees it until it's too late. And I'm glad you were able to see it when you were still able to do something about it.
I'm glad I did it in that order too. Like did the no autonomy when I was young, because I think it would be so hard right now to flip that. And I know so many people start out independent and sell. And I'm like, I just can't imagine that right now.
Right. And it's fully understandable. You come out of med school, you have debt, you want to have kids. Safety and security are just a guaranteed paycheck for working hard. Totally get it.
Mhm.
Everyone I know, I mean, without exception, every pediatrician I know in your shoes, independent, says, I am better than the hospital. I can provide better care. It doesn't matter if you're a pediatrician or a carpenter. If you are consistently doing your job and sacrificing quality or compromising your work, that's really hard. That's really hurts.
Well, it's a whole different level when it's people on the other end of that
Yeah.
compromise.
Right.
So,
It's not your art. It's not your photo or your
yeah,
painting.
exactly. I mean, that's still really hard, but when it's a person and you feel like you're not able to deliver, we're still beholden to insurance companies, and there's still a lot of things that need to be fixed
Of course.
because they still force a certain compromise of care. But
Well,
it's
I'll
better
say
than
it.
it was.
I'll say it. In your state, you have a mafia of one. You don't have to say it because I don't need you to disappear tomorrow. But Alabama's got one of the worst and most monopolistic private insurance circumstances. It's funny at the Jefferson County Pediatric Society, which sounds so fancy.
It's
The
not
question came
at all.
up last time about getting payments for the 9048234. And I had the data while we were talking, and I followed it up. And we have a couple Alabama clients. I wait till the end of my sentence who did get paid for claims in January for the 90482 from Blue Cross, and I have to admit I was surprised. But then I had
Yeah.
no fewer than 3 emails from people from the Jefferson County Pediatric Society saying, "No, we do not," including their list of codes that they don't pay, which I look at it and you're like, so you don't pay for maternal depression screening either. You must sleep well at night. That's, you just keep your, I don't want them coming for you. They can come for me. All right. So as a pediatrician right now, what is keeping you up at night?
Okay, so literally right now, shingles is keeping me up at night
Oh no.
because I have it and it hurts really badly, especially at nighttime.
Yeah. Wow.
Figuratively, I mean, like
Well,
every
there's
other
a vaccine for that.
you have to be 50. I'm so close. So close.
My wife got it when she was probably 40,
Got
and she's
vaccines or shingles?
shingles, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and she's still mad at me because I was sort of like, you just have a cold or whatever, like you're just getting sick, and then it turns out she had shingles, and she's still mad. So
Yeah, no, I understand why she's still mad.
yeah.
Like she should be. Okay, so but like every other pediatrician in the country, I mean, just the state of what's happening from a federal policy level, what we're seeing locally in our exam rooms, the changing, evolving relationship, and not generally evolving in a good way. All of that's so hard, but we all know that. I think personally, right now, um, it's the really trying, and I mean, I talk to you about this all the time, but trying to really build a good culture in our practice. And that is
Yep.
so hard. And I'm trying really hard, but I want it to be better yesterday. And it's taking a lot of time and it's really hard. I still see patients 4 full days a week, and then I have one admin day. And so it's really hard to dedicate the amount of time that is needed. I've made some good strides, but it's just really, really hard to find a balance where there's, consistency and you have a business that functions while still making room for everybody's humanity and their own lives, which I think is so, so important and something that I don't think is everywhere and was not where I was previously in a way that I wanted it to be. And now I'm seeing how hard that is to actually do. So, but I'm still trying.
Well, if it were easy, everyone would do it. It cannot be done without being consciously active in the process, which you are. It's the only way to do it. So the fact that you are thinking about it and working on it means that by definition, and just as practical matter, you're closer all the time to the culture that you want than you ever get otherwise. And also, at some point, you have to take the Zen perspective and realize you are never going to achieve it. You might have 30 seconds one day in the office where you're like, this is exactly what I envisioned. But 2 minutes later, you accidentally see something on your phone. Yeah, if it were easy to achieve, it wouldn't feel worthwhile.
Yeah.
You would be seeking something else. It's just your nature as a physician. I applaud you for being conscious of it because that's the trick.
Yeah. We've got lots of work to do. But I feel like overall, when I think about where we were when I walked in the door 3 years ago, um, I'm really, really happy with where we are today. We've still got a long way to go, but I'm really, really happy and proud of my team and everybody's efforts to really make this work and make this the kind of place where we all want to come to work and the kind of place where our patients want to come and be taken care of.
I love hearing that. Okay, so that's what's keeping you up at night. What are you excited about? What's
The
coming up
same
this year?
thing.
Not
Can
the
it just
same,
be the
right?
same thing? Um, no, I mean, I think that's what I'm really, really excited about because there's this I'm trying to word this right. So, working in a corporate environment is very much, I still had so much passion for my patients, loved the doctors that I worked with, loved the nurses and MAs, and, all of our support staff. And we had a great environment, but I felt completely out of or impotent. I didn't have any control. So when things were working great, I loved it. When things were working not great, it was so frustrating. And so I'm looking forward to continuing to seek perfection that will never exist, but to not quit trying.
Right. I mean, how do you possibly think corralling a bunch of problem solvers and telling them, but you can't solve these problems. You're not allowed to work on this systemic issue in your like it's never going to work. It's never going to work. Um, okay. All right. So here's my last question. If you could go back to yourself, back when you were working, actually, I want you to do this just before you graduate or not graduate, got out of residency. What advice would you give yourself now? If you could go back and whisper in your ear to the resident, third year, what would you say?
Okay, so you ask this question often. And then when you proposed this today, I was like, oh God, that one's so hard. Um, so my first question is a technicality. I'm going to answer a question with a question. Like,
Okay.
uh, what's my character limit on what I get to tell myself?
You
And do
don't
I
have
get like, does myself get to have like, it's like if I knew then what I know now,
right.
then I would
Yes.
like tell myself to do this instead of working in corporate for 15 years. but
But
I've learned so much.
right. Yeah, no,
And
I
so if
get
I
it.
can't, and I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now and be content and excited and
So
fulfilled by it
who you
if I
are
hadn't
now
done that. So
is
I don't know,
because of
maybe I
that
would tell
experience.
myself, go independent 10 years into no, because then it would have been right during COVID. I don't know, Chip.
I don't know. Yeah. All right, then rewind. What advice do you give yourself when you were 12 years old?
Ooh, 12 years old. Um,
I should have known that you would overthink that question.
um, I feel like it's like be more content with who you are in your own skin. Quit trying to be somebody you're not. Um, be happy with the things that you're capable of and less frustrated by things that were never meant for you.
And convince your doctor to get the shingles vaccine when you're 40.
Yeah, right? That.
Just say, just trust me, doc.
No, actually, what I would tell I need to go back and tell my 11-year-old self because I got chickenpox the
Me too.
Friday before spring break of my 5th grade year, and we were supposed to go to Disney World. So I would be like, stay away from Jason Long because he's the one who brought it to school. Be like, stay away from him that whole week. And then I could have gone to Disney World instead of staying at home with chickenpox.
The only day of school I missed all through school was one day because I got it just before, I think it was spring break. I got chickenpox, missed a day. But you know what? Here's the funny thing. In 2026, a kid with chickenpox, they go to Disney anyway.
This is true. This is true.
So, like, that's what you really need to just like transport me to 2026. I wouldn't have missed Disney. I might have made 400 other people sick,
Yeah,
but
but
who
who
cares?
cares? It's all
Who
about
cares?
me.
All right. Do you have any advice for our listeners?
I feel like I'm still like so much in the learning phase that I'm not in a position to give anybody advice.
There is someone listening who has not had your experience, someone listening who wants to go independent or wants to start working on their practice.
Okay.
There's always someone who is behind you. So what would you
I
tell that person?
and most of your listeners are PCC people, right?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'd say 50-50.
Okay. Well, for PCC listeners, go to the users conference, drink the Kool-Aid, because that's one of the places that I go and re-energize, and stay focused and get excited about doing the work that's actually really, really hard. And I guess if you're not a PCC user, find some other conference to connect in person with people, um, to learn more and not just continue. Obviously, we are all passionate about learning about the medicine side of things and staying up to date, and continuing to evolve, but do that with the business side of things. And I still want you and Katrina or whoever, I still want like baby PED CEO, like PED CEO 101 for your freshman year.
We've talked about it. I
I
think
need it.
the AAP just announced the other day that they've got a 2-day seminar, which is all like practice 101. I don't know much about it because they didn't ask me to participate. Like I must have overstayed my welcome, but they have a lot of the usual suspects are
Like, should
part of
I would have appreciated someone defining AR for me. Well, okay, look, when I was listening to your interview with Morgan this morning, when she was like, "Well, what dose Adderall are you looking for?" And you were like, "I don't know, the adult dose." And that's so funny because, like, of course, everybody listening to this that's a pediatrician,
oh,
I
right
mean, I
away.
can
Yeah.
rattle off all of the doses of Adderall. You want the XR? You want the short release? But, people were rattling off and still are rattling off all of these terms that I'm like, I don't know what that is. And now I don't want to be the person who's like, hi, I
Yeah.
have no
What is
idea
this
what you're
dollar
talking
sign
about.
thing? Yeah. I will say Katrina has taught a couple times an accounting 101 course, as has Alex Mayer. And I know that we're going to do both sides are going to do more of that. And that's only a part of what you're talking about, but that's a really important part of what you're talking about. So, yes, you can expect more of that. Well, thank you.
Thanks. It's
All
fun.
right. Well, I'm about to see you at the
I
Jefferson
know.
County Pediatric Society meeting in a minute. Thank you so much. As I expected, you were perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening. More information can be found in our show notes. Production and editing by Chip Hart, Ali Squires, and Chris Forleo. Music by Challenger C. I'm Mark Herney.